Welcome to the Family Law Growth Podcast. We interview the nation's fastest growing family law firms to get insights on what is working today. We leave no stone unturned, from intake to the biggest mistakes they've made while scaling to multi-7 figures and 8 figures. I'm your host, Elliot, co-founder of Empirical 360. Let's dive into the episode. All right, so welcome back to the Family Law Growth Podcast. This episode is fun with founders. We are joined by my co-founder, Erik, Alicia here. So today we're going to be talking AI. Shocker, right? We're going to be talking about AI, I would say, from a little bit of a contrarian point of view to the messages you see out there. And we're going to be talking about it from the perspective of how we're using AI right now, like today, and this is not theory, to actually generate our clients revenue. Let's get right into it, and then we're going to discuss kind of the 3 major areas that we are focusing on. But right now, Erik, how is everybody feeling? How is everybody acting when it comes to AI?
How everyone's feeling is probably how I am feeling right now. So this morning when I opened up Facebook, and yes, I open up Facebook every single morning, I got an ad for a Claude bot. I got an ad for an appointment setter, just, a bot that will go out and just magically put appointments on my calendar. I saw other agencies talking about how they're using it for SEO. I saw someone saying that SEO is dead. I saw somebody saying that SEO is better than it ever is. And there was so much noise and conflicting information out there that I felt a little bit overwhelmed.
It's kind of like, when you see all these health pages, first they say cold plunging is good, and then they say cold plunging is bad, and then cold plunging causes cancer, and then obviously cold plunging cures cancer. It's a little bit how it feels. Actually, this morning I was watching an episode about Claude, and Claude just came out with managed agents as of yesterday. He was shooting this episode. And there was already a video out about it. It already had like 50,000 views.
There's probably already an expert.
And the guy said, no, actually, it wasn't that bad. The guy actually said, I've been working on this for 3 hours. But how much does he really know in 3 hours? Now, he has a lot of background knowledge, but 3 hours? And he's already making judgments on how to use it, what to do, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, back to your noise.
The noise, and actually more than the noise, what's actually bothering me, because at least that guy was talking about 3 hours, is there are a lot of self-proclaimed experts that are giving people advice on how they should change their business before the concepts are actually proven. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, not only that, to add to the noise factor. So I always use this example because maybe I'm getting old, but when I am driving somewhere and I really need to focus, I tend to turn down the volume. I'm sure people can relate to that. But right now, what I'm seeing is firms are so focused on AI, and I think they need to be. But AI is very much, it's going to be a part of our everyday life. And right now in most firms, it's probably a missed opportunity, not a problem.
Yeah.
What that means is there are always a million opportunities, right, that these people can go after. You can redo your website, you could do ads, you could do social media, you could do videos, you could do a podcast, you could do a book, you could do all kinds of stuff, right? Those are all missed opportunities. But if you miss every phone call in your firm, there's no reason to worry about anything else other than that. And so I think right now it is a very big distraction, rightfully so. Everybody's kind of scared, but that's another big problem I see with it. And so again, we're going all in on AI as well, but we're doing it in the context of what is our problem, not what is a missed opportunity.
Yeah, and so we want today's episode to be extremely actionable. So we're going to cover 3 things. The first thing we're going to talk about is, this is not an exaggeration, we are using AI within our agency to generate more leads and more sales for our clients every single day. And it's not an exaggeration. Inside of a week, we are making them more dollars in their bank account. So we're going to talk, you got to listen to the whole episode, Elliot.
Right,
the second thing we're going to talk about, everyone's seen it, AI SEO, AIO, IIEO. There's like 1,000 acronyms for AI SEO. We're going to address it. We're going to talk about things we're actually doing. We're going to talk about things that we think are BS right now. And we're going to talk about our actual point of view on that whole subject. And then the last thing, which I think is the most important thing, and it goes in line with what you're saying with missed opportunities, is we're going to talk about if AI completely changes the search landscape and how sales and marketing is happening right now for family law firms, what we would do to make sure we survive. And I think that is the most important thing.
All right, so I hope you're enjoying this episode. So if you're struggling to grow your family law firm right now and you've tried marketing and you've tried sales and nothing seems to be clicking, it's more than likely that you have a benchmark problem. You actually don't know what winning looks like and what the KPIs are that you need to manage to. So that is why we put together this benchmark report. So this report goes over a bunch of stuff. It tells you what should PPC leads cost, what should LSA leads cost, what should those leads close at, what should you be doing for social media, how should you structure your sales process, who should do your intake, should you do paid consults or free consults. All of these questions that are potentially holding you back from growth are answered in this short guide. Now, as a bonus, when you get this guide mailed to you, I also give you an intake script that you can give to an internal person or a call center. I also give you the agenda of how non-attorney salespeople open their call, and I give you the closing questions that they use to close more deals. So go ahead, get this for free. All you gotta do is put in your information and I will mail you a physical copy. Let's get back to the episode. So tell me how we are using AI to put real dollars in our clients' bank accounts this week.
Before I tell you how, I'm going to tell you a story of something that happened yesterday. So I had a client text me last night. He's like, here's what Claude said about my Google Ads account. And it gave like a wasted spend report. It actually had some pretty cool, it looked awesome. It really did. But it didn't have the right context. It didn't have family law KPIs. That Claude prompt didn't know what winning or losing looks like to a family law firm. And so what we have, the one thing that we've done pretty well over the last few years is we've documented SOPs on how we actually drive success for family law firms from click all the way through sale. We have SOPs on how we build their ads, how we set up their websites, how we set up their local service ads, their map profile, and all of the things we know need to happen in order to manufacture success and the ratios for them. Then taking it to the next step, we know the same things for intake. We know the same things for show rates, for close rates. We know what the conversation should sound like. We know what the meeting should look like. We know what the whole process from person looking at a video or clicking on a website all the way to becoming a signed client looks like. And I'd say we know that better than any other agency or any other individual for family law firms, just because we have so much data on that subject. So we took all of that data, all of our internal SOPs, and we fed it to AI. And we didn't only feed the data, because the data alone, it's very important, but we fed it the way we do things. So if you've interacted with Elliot or myself, if you've been to one of our workshops, if you've been to one of our owners' calls, or probably even seen a few of our podcast episodes, you know that we subscribe to the idea, really the concept of the theory of constraints. And so we believe that at any given moment, there are one of two modes for a law firm. You should be in scale mode or fixing mode. And fixing mode is where the theory of constraint applies. Theory of constraints really applies. If something is broken in your law firm and you fix that something, you will grow faster than you thought possible. And we outline those things. We go deep into that. We have other episodes on it. But we took the theory of constraints framework, we applied it to all of our SOPs and our KPIs, and we built a actual internal skill and bot that will look at all of our customers' raw data and figure out, are they in scale mode? Are they in fixing mode? And if they're in fixing mode, what's broken? And what's really cool about it, we do this with our clients, but we analyze like a week, 2 weeks worth of data to come up with this, maybe like a month. This thing will go through years worth of data, month over month, listen to hundreds of calls at once. So the statistical significance for the decision-making of our AI tools is so much better than you or I could ever do. I know that was a mouthful, but pretty much it will make way better decisions for us. And so what we've done over the last few weeks is we've ran that for our clients, and we've got wins that have not brought them one or two more sales, but dozens more sales. And for a family law firm, that's millions a year in revenue. And we're having it analyze our ad accounts, which brings them more leads right now. And so does that answer your question, Elliot?
It does. And I want to highlight a few things in there. And I also want to make this actionable for listeners who are not our clients.
Yes.
So first thing is, and I would say, not that we got lucky, but because we are so data driven, for years and years and years and years, we've been collecting data on this stuff. Mm-hmm. Thousands of phone calls, probably hundreds of thousands of phone calls at this point, are all being fed into this thing, right? And that is what makes it valuable. To Erik's point earlier, if you just start asking Claude a bunch of questions, it doesn't have the context of what family law should look like. And so that's an important thing. The second thing is if you want to make this actionable for you right now,
Yeah.
what would you say are 3 buckets of optimization that you see in a family law firm? Like what are 3 usual problem areas?
Good question. Well, I'm going to break it up into the 3 buckets that I look at for law firms. There's going to be the marketing, intake, and sales.
Okay.
And so for marketing, I would have Claude, ChatGPT, whatever your tool is, you could do with all of them. Lately, we've been using like exclusively Claude. It's been huge for our business. But the first thing I would do is I would have Claude go look at my ad accounts and analyze how they're doing. But here's the thing that most people miss, and actually the text that I got last night missed this. I would make sure it looks at my CRM or my lead sheet or wherever my leads are stored to make sure it has all the right context. So the reporting and tools isn't always perfect. Sometimes agencies will count certain things as conversions that aren't actual leads, vice versa. Tons of problems, but I would have Claude go look at my ads, my local service ads, my Google ads, my Facebook ads, and my organic on my website. And then I would have it look at my CRM and look at the leads and sales coming from those ads. And then I would have it tell me whatever insights I'm looking to gain. Like, how can I lower my lead cost? Do I need to lower my lead cost? How can I get more leads? Where am I spending money that's not producing anything? So I would ask all of those questions and I would make sure I just give it the right context. Because if you just give it access to your ad platforms, your Google Analytics, it's not enough to make a good decision for you. And actually, let me back up a step. Before I would look at any of those 3 things, I would make sure I explicitly define what success looks like to Claude. So Claude may think just because of a Google search, or ChatGPT may think that you should pay $100 to acquire a customer. When in reality, you can pay $1,000, $2,000, or even $3,000. And so I would tell Claude specific instructions of here's what I can pay to acquire a customer. Here's what my sales metrics look like. And here's how many leads I need to achieve that result. And then I would have it go judge my marketing platform because that context really matters.
One more thing that Claude is probably going to do if you do this. So let's say that for the purpose of this example, we're talking about Google Ads. If we say, Claude, go look at our Google Ads and tell us what's working, what's not working. It's going to pull industry benchmark data probably from WordStream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And WordStream says that you should have a conversion rate of 8%.
What's a conversion rate?
Conversion rate is when you get a certain amount of clicks, what percentage of those clicks turn into leads?
Yeah.
So if you get 100 clicks and you have an 8% conversion rate, you're going to get 8 leads. Now, if we use that as the benchmark for Claude, it may say you're doing great, it may say you're doing bad, but again, we fed it the wrong benchmark for winning. Mm-hmm. And so if you're wondering where to get benchmarks, we have a benchmark report that you can feed Claude.
So our benchmark report is free. That's a great idea. We actually haven't even done this. Our SOPs built our benchmark report, so it's probably very similar. But you could probably download our benchmark report, feed it to Claude, and ask it to judge your marketing and sales efforts. It's exactly what I would do. Sorry, that's very actionable. It's
actually what a client of ours did for their sales process. They downloaded a really well-known sales training, the PDF, fed it to ChatGPT, and it builds a sales script on them on every single sales call. And she doubled her close rate. So this is really, really actionable on the marketing side. So tell me about the next bucket, intake. How would you use Claude or ChatGPT to improve your intake?
I would, which most people we interface with either have CallRail or call tracking metrics, some sort of call software. And if you don't, I would get it so I can compile like at least a week's worth of data. I would take all of the transcripts of the inbound calls to my law firm and I would feed it to Claude and ask it to do a couple things. Again, if you have benchmarks and things that you're listening for. So what I did for our clients for the skill we created is the first thing I was curious about is how many of our phone calls are marketing qualified. So how many phone calls do people start by asking for a divorce in our area? And it was amazing, the results that it gave us. After that, how many of those marketing qualified leads that are calling in are actually pitched an appointment? How many of them accept the appointment? How many of the calls that we received do people actually show empathy to the person calling in? How many of the calls we receive are our internal team members rude or not instilling confidence? And so we programmed all of this logic of the things we know that will make an intake successful, especially on an MQL, how frequently we're pitching an appointment, how far out we're pushing that appointment, is the appointment paid, free, all of those things. What kind of discovery are we doing? And we baked it into a call grader, and it'll give us a grade. And now that grade don't steal what we're doing there. It's very personalized. Like you may want to handle a call completely different than a law firm down the road. So just ask Claude or ChatGPT to analyze your calls and just feed it what you think a great call would look like. And ask it to look at that criteria for your marketing qualified leads and see what happens from there. Do some discovery. What I actually asked is I actually asked for it to create a dashboard for us that'll give us the things that went well and the things that went wrong. And since CallRail has the sources, if we had alarming issues on the phone, can you give me the sources that it was happening to? So we can see how we're doing on our paid leads versus our organic leads, because all these call tracking platforms have that context.
So that's two huge action items. I would say that on the marketing side, that's super, super dependent on you having good KPIs and benchmarks. On intake, I will say it's very, very actionable in general.
We pride ourselves as an agency in like listening to our clients' calls and prepping for meetings. But even us, like when clients getting hundreds of calls a week, we can't listen to 100 calls a week. No one could. So there was a client we had who was winning on paper. Like they were getting a lot of sales because their sales team was crushing it. We found out in the middle of the month, there was a 2-week streak of missed calls. And they didn't appear to be missed calls because CallRail wasn't flagging them as missed calls. They were just short calls, but they were truly missed and the voicemail was long. We would never have caught that without using AI. That change alone will make them millions of dollars a year in revenue because it was happening because of their call settings and they just fixed it. We had another client. We had to listen to 400 of their calls. When I listened to 400 of their calls, this client's doing free case evaluations. And we found out that, I don't remember the exact stat, but there was a certain percentage of leads that were being pitched a paid call because one of the intake staff didn't know. Because they have free case evaluations, but they also do paid consultations with an attorney. And whenever someone would mention any interest about attorney, they would pitch the paid consult on accident. And it was hurting their book rate. And so these AIs or these LLMs' ability to sift through large amounts of data can give you such a clear picture on your intake. And intake is one of the biggest bottlenecks we see for law firms growing. And so very actionable and easy to fix generally, which I find cool. Like if someone's just saying the wrong thing on the phone, all it takes is one conversation for them, tell them to say the right thing, and that problem's fixed and you get more appointments, more money, which is why I love attacking intake with these services.
So we do a daily sales training where we actually train family law firms on how to do intake, how to do sales. And what we've been doing a lot lately is analyzing the sales conversations that people are having. Been a game changer, honestly.
So how do you even do that, Elliot?
So what I like to do is when we look at the sales conversations, we like to map out certain milestones that are being achieved. And again, everyone has a little bit different of a talk track. So this is going to be a little bit on a case-by-case basis. But pretty much what we want to do is map out the milestones of your sales conversations and then use the AI to make sure those milestones are being hit, because we know if these milestones are being hit, we are more likely to get a sale. And so what those milestones are on some of these calls are, do we have a clear, concise agenda of the call? Check. Do we have a clear, concise discovery process? Check. Do we have a clear, concise pitching process? Check. Do we have a clear, concise options that we're presenting to the PNC? Check. And are we closing the call with some sort of next step? Usually a bam fam, book a meeting from a meeting.
If they don't buy.
If they don't buy, which 99% of them are not buying on the first call, right? So what we're able to do on a surface level is we're able to at least make sure that our salespeople are hitting the high level milestones of a sales call and then assign them a grade. Now, the other thing that we were able to do is once we mapped out whether they're doing that or not, we were able to dig into, are we digging into the details of the case? And we're able to get really clear case notes, which really, really help follow up. So what we were able to do then was take the case notes and create personalized follow-ups, email follow-ups, text message follow-ups that are compassionate to the PNC. And so not only are we getting call grades and we're getting case notes, we're also building an entire follow-up system just using the transcript that comes from the call. And so this is what usually happens in family law sales is a lot of people will have a call where it just ends with no resolution. Mm-hmm. So we talk all kinds of stuff, they cry, they say this was so great, and then they don't buy, right? Or they don't do something, or they ghost you. And it's usually because you missed some part of the sales process where no clarity was given, there was no next step, you didn't move them through the process. And so just by getting a basic grade, you're able to spot when salespeople are messing up. So that has really helped the sales process. And to kind of tell you a crazy story, right? We had a client She took a really well-known sales script out there, NEPQ, right? I'll mention it.
Jeremy Minor.
Jeremy Minor, right? I'm sure you've seen his stuff. She took this really well-known sales script and she took the NEPQ book that he gave away, kind of like our benchmark. She took the PDF and she dropped it in ChatGPT. And he has phases of the sale, just like that. He has like probing questions, clarifying questions, pitch, whatever. And she said, okay, I want you to create a family law GPT for me. When I give you the intake script, I want you to give me personalized NEPQ level questions for my sales script. It takes the intake script because they ask a bunch of questions, maps out the exact questions she needs to ask, consequence-based questions, closing questions that are personalized to the user. And she did this for a month and her closing rate just about doubled. Insane. So those are the 3 buckets that you can use AI. Any other buckets that you're thinking of that you've seen lately that are really adding big revenue dollars?
Those 3 buckets are important. And then also, when you're listening to calls, you can have it look at your marketing qualified and sales qualified information, which I know we touched on, but I want to double click into that. So if you listen to all of your sales calls, and when they're talking about assets and they're talking about household income, you can have it mine that information and get you an actual pulse on the household income and the assets that people have and compare that to your financial objections. So you can fact check all the information that you're receiving from your team on objections. Another thing that we've been doing a lot on Elliot's sales floor meetings and for our clients, and I touched on it for like what we're doing for our clients, is just look at the whole pipeline. Look at my whole pipeline. How many leads am I getting? How many appointments am I getting? How many appointments are showing up? How many are closing? Is that in line with the ratios that they should be? And where do the opportunities lie? Because it can go through your CRM. It can look at the lead statuses, leads that are still potential new clients, leads that are marked as lost, and figure out what potential revenue can come out of your pipeline and what you should be focusing on. And again, if you don't have those KPIs, go get our benchmark guide. It's free. Use it, plug it in. But I would have it analyze my CRM for sure at all times.
All right, so the next bucket pillar of AI that we wanted to discuss today was ranking in LLMs.
Ooh.
If I had $1 for every ad I saw, for every agency that's using this as their bait right now, I'd be really rich.
What do you mean by bait? I think that's important.
Okay, so every agency right now is running ads that you can rank in the LLMs. Now, what we're going to say is pretty radical, but we have more data than any of these agencies combined because they don't actually track their clients' data.
Yeah.
They don't use CRMs. What I mean by that, if you're wondering what I'm talking about, is most agencies, not even most, I actually don't know a single one that tracks the data from the website to the lead in your CRM with the source data. So where did the lead actually come from? I have yet to see an agency do this, which to me is just blasphemy. It's crazy. You shouldn't even be an agency, but anyway, let's not get into that.
Actually, it's really funny. I think if you hire or if you're considering hiring an AI SEO company, that is the exact question I would lead with. How can you show me how many leads and sales I'm getting from the source? And if you don't hear a really good, accurate, specific answer, walk the other way. And if someone is doing AI SEO for you right now, ask them, can you show me how many leads and sales I'm getting from this? And if they don't answer that, they are hiding the ball.
Yeah. As a side note, do you want to tell the story of the largest AI SEO company on the planet that we've been working with recently and the results they've got?
Yeah. So one of our clients, a really close client of ours, said, Erik, here's this AI SEO company. Do you think I should try them out? And I do their SEO. We do their pay-per-click. We do everything for them. So I said, of course. Like, they're saying for you to do things that we are not doing for you. So I thought that was interesting because right now we're doing his SEO and they said they're going to do things differently, which is what I found interesting. Because right now I think the big issue is a lot of people are selling AI SEO, but they're just selling SEO and just calling it AI SEO. 99% of the people out there. And so they're doing things. They're doing like all these Reddit things. They're doing blogs. We do blogs for them and doing blogs way higher in the funnel, way broader topics. And they're manipulating the back end of our site, the structure of it, all these things, all these technical things they're talking about all day long on all these reports. And the net of it right now is 6 months later, they have brought our client 20 views from all these deliverables to their website from SEO, not ChatGPT, not Claude, not Perplexity, not any of those platforms. So they worked with an SEO company that sold them top of funnel nationwide SEO masked as AI SEO.
Yeah. The net is everybody is full of shit.
They are all full of shit.
Too new to be.
Let me tell you, we are experts on Google ads. We are experts on local service ads. We are experts on social media ads. We are experts on family law intake and sales. We're experts on web development for family law firms. We're experts on SEO for family law firms. And by expert, what I mean is we have not just produced millions for law firms from these channels, but tens of millions for law firms from these channels. And not just for a few family law firms, but hundreds. And so our confidence in these services, we've been doing those, we've been running all of those services for decades. So we know we're good at these things and we understand them well. But right now, there are a lot of people saying they're experts, industry leaders on something that's changed 2 weeks ago.
Yesterday.
2 months ago, Elliot, Reddit was the best way to rank on ChatGPT. Then they threw that out, and now it's YouTube Shorts, and tomorrow it's going to be Avo, and then ChatGPT 5.8 is going to come out, and it's going to change. Now, again, don't mistake this as don't do AI SEO. We're doing AI SEO for our clients, and I want to give you our promise in this podcast is to make things actionable. Here's what I would tell you to do if I was to give you honest SEO advice for the LLMs. The first thing I would do is I would do a lot of video content. High quality video content that answers the top questions about your services in your area. That's the first thing I would do. And the reason for that is right now, anyone with a computer can create as many blogs on your website as they want. You can produce high quality SEO blogs and SEO pages, almost unlimited amounts of content. And the issue with the content is it's all coming from the same sources. Not everyone can create high quality video content. And that is why, even though I just mentioned it, the recent trend of the LLMs are sourcing videos more than they are content pieces for their material about legal services. Now, again, that may change, but what I think is not going to change is the more content you have, the better. And most people do have a lot of content on their website. They're blogging, they're adding pages, but most people aren't doing a lot of video content. And again, video content, I don't mean go dance on TikTok or go make a sound to a cool video. I mean, answer the burning questions that your potential clients are asking. If you go on Google right now and you ask a question about family law, one of the top results will be YouTube Shorts, TikToks, and Instagram Shorts, short form content and long form content, but the short form content is way higher up. If you go to ChatGPT and you ask a question and you look at the cited sources, it will be tons of social media posts, Facebook posts, YouTube posts, TikTok posts. It'll be all of them. So if you're not on social media, I would get on social media. That'd be the first thing I would do. The next thing is I would make sure my agency or my marketing team is staying up to date with the latest ways to optimize our content for AI. So let me explain this to you. And again, I'll say it not to copy us. This is what we're doing now. We think it's working. We see it working for AI overviews on Google, but I'm sure this is going to change a lot over the next few months. But at the top of our blogs and our SEO pages, we just added a simple summary, key takeaways, and a piece of code called schema data that's optimized for the AI or the LLMs. That alone has helped us get placed in the AI overviews. And it's working. So things like that, I would make sure my team is doing. I would ask them, like, what are you doing right now to our SEO deliverables to get them ranking on the LLMs? And I would give your team some grace because this is a moving target. There's not an exact formula. We're doing that and we think it's working. It's very difficult right now. In Google Analytics, Google does not tell you if the click came from an AI overview or just a standard Google search. So again, I can't confidently tell my clients exactly how successful that strategy is. And I can't confidently tell them exactly how successful our strategies are for videos on YouTube outside of the vanity metrics that it's happening a lot and that we're getting a lot of views. And so anyone who answers that confidently, I'd be careful of, but I'd make sure my team's on the cutting edge of what can we do to our blogs, our website to make it optimized for AI SEO.
You know, I want to say a few things on this topic. So first of all, if there's no tool to measure accurately, then how do you know that it's working?
Actually,
and right now, there's no 100% accurate tool to anybody's knowledge because AI is so heavily personalized. In addition to that, there is one foolproof method to know that a lead came from ChatGPT. UTM parameters in a CRM.
Yep.
Which means that if they are not tracking source data to a CRM, they have no idea what they're doing for you.
Yeah.
And they're still selling AEO, GEO, SEO, all the BS.
Yep.
So does it work? Yes. Is it the majority of traffic today? Absolutely not. We have clients that get thousands of leads per month.
Yeah.
Thousands. How many of them are LLM leads?
Very few.
One more thing when it comes to GEO, AEO, whatever the heck they're calling it these days, right? Is a lot of people are trying to blog their way out of this situation.
Yeah. Oh.
And it's funny, they're trying to blog their way out of it with AI. But what we have seen, and this is legit data. So like, as a side note, we're not bringing you any BS on this podcast, if you could tell. We're kind of like straight to the point. Let's get the data. Let's make you guys money and everyone can live happily ever after. But to get back to it, we have seen firms that have literally had their SEO traffic cut in half because of the strategy that used to work a year ago. Now, most of the time, what people do for SEO is they will do a bunch of blogging, right? Top of funnel, question and answer based blog. So how much is child support in Texas? First of all, do you want that lead? But anyway, how long does it take to get divorced? How much does divorce cost, right? These high level, very high in the funnel research based topics where number one, these people aren't going to hire you anytime soon for the most part. Number two, it's very top of funnel, it's very research based. Now, what has happened for people who have traditionally survived off this type of traffic is they get this research based traffic, people go to their site, they interact with it, and their entire SEO presence gets boosted because of this blog traffic, right? That's why it's a strong strategy. But what's happening right now, and the most recent stat I saw from Neil Patel, fun guy, right, is 80% of clicks have been given away by Google. They did this intentionally. Obviously, their ads monetized, but 80% of the traffic is gone from this type of traffic because what happens is I search, how long does it take to get divorced in Texas? And the AI overview answers the question and I don't click through.
Even if your blog gave them the information to answer the question.
It's great if you give them
your SEO is great, but it didn't result in a visit to your website.
Yeah. And what happens is this is a cascading effect. It is a whatever the opposite of a virtuous cycle is what it is. So now they get the answer from Google, from you. Good job, Eric. But you don't get the click. You start to lose traffic on a blog post that was doing a lot of work for you. Some of these blog posts for years will churn out traffic. Then what happens is you lose traffic. Then what happens to Google is they're like, hey, they're not getting enough traffic. Maybe their website sucks. Bump them down the ranking. Then you lose more traffic. Hey, it looks like they really suck. Bump them down the ranking. And this cycle can happen over and over and over again. And the end result is you get your cases cut in half because your SEO dropped off a cliff. Now, we've seen this happen, and it takes about like 6 months, would you say, to kind of kick in? But it's very, very scary.
I have clients who are active clients and people who are like potential clients that just ask us to like audit their stuff. And we have seen people's SEO when it seems to be thriving, like they're getting more rankings, their Ahrefs and Moz reports look amazing, but their actual Google Analytics traffic to their website is literally cut in half and leads. It's terrifying, and it's why a top of funnel approach to SEO at this time is really scary to do. You got to have a bottom of funnel approach. And again, just to make this podcast actionable, I'm going to tell you what I mean by bottom of funnel. You need to be adding pages to your website that are all the cities you want to rank for and all the keywords in the cities you want to rank for. So if I'm a lawyer in Texas, Austin, Texas, divorce lawyer, Manor, Texas, divorce lawyer, San Antonio, divorce lawyer, all the pages, regardless if you have an office there, that you want to rank for, all the cities you want to rank in, for all the keywords you want to rank for, you need to have a page for those. That is more important than blogging because, and again, this is April 2026, maybe May 2026, this won't be true. But if you go to Google and you type in a bottom of funnel search, there is no AI overview. There are ads and search results.
What does that mean?
So what I mean is if I go to Google, like you said earlier, and I search.
I want to test you right now.
Please search. And I search. If I go into Google and I search, what is the difference between uncontested and a contested divorce in Florida? I will get an AI overview. Go ahead, test it.
Let's see. That was a lot of typing, but all right. So the claim he's made: What is the difference between uncontested and contested divorce? At the top, if you can see this, is the AI overview, and it says whatever the definition is. Oh, look, one of our clients is one of the answers. But the problem is, it's one of our clients, and you can't see her whole domain.
Yep.
And am I clicking on her site?
Probably not. You're
Nope.
probably going to get your answer there and be like, huh, cool.
And I see that it's her. Who else is in this? It's her, one of our clients' nemesis, actually. And then it's Nemesis. I'm on the AI overview, and all I'm getting is AI overview, and I got my answer. It means both spouses agree on all terms or contested.
And actually,
disagree.
let me ask you a few questions on what you're seeing right now. Do you see an ad?
Nope.
Do you see an LSA ad?
Nope.
Do you see a map?
No.
Do you see a list of law firms' names?
Nope.
Now search divorce lawyer, Tampa, Florida.
All right, divorce lawyer. I'm just gonna put divorce lawyer near me. How
Yeah.
about that? Divorce lawyer near me.
Do you see an ad?
First one.
Do you see lawyers?
I see ads, and then I see maps.
And you see law firms' names?
Yep.
Do you see an AI overview?
Nope.
So that's what we mean by bottom of funnel. The listings where they are positioning lawyers to be found is where you should be focusing on your content, producing those search results.
Yeah, so I guess to back to that point. So if I scroll past the ads, past the map.
You gotta go pretty far now these
Yeah.
days.
Man, Google
Ouch,
is
huh?
greedy. Then I will find a firm that is optimizing towards Trinity Family Law Firm, Newport Richey, which is kind of where I'm at. But yeah, it's way down. In fact, it's actually funny. No one here is doing in this city that I'm in right now. I'm in Odessa, technically. No one is optimizing towards that page. So if I was an Odessa attorney, the first person is Justia.
Yep.
And they're optimizing towards Odessa.
And then super lawyers, I'm sure.
And then super lawyers. Yeah. Best Odessa family law attorneys. They're not even going for the keyword divorce attorney. So if I was a law firm here and I built a page Odessa divorce lawyer,
dominate.
I'd be number one.
This right now, as we're shooting this podcast, is April 2026. And even though there are all these ads of SEO is dead, traditional SEO is over, LLMs are taking over, I have clients getting not hundreds, but thousands of leads from Google SEO. It's not an exaggeration. So yes, it's important, and we got to, I think this could be the quickest that you do see a behavior shift of people searching on Google and going to LLMs, but we can't lose sight that Google is making us all our money. Actually, the third thing we're going to talk about is, I think, the best way to combat that potential problem.
Before we get into that, though, I want to give you guys some stats here. So I'm going to say a few names, and I want you to tell me if you even remember these companies. MySpace. Remember them? Leader in social media for a little bit, and then Facebook knocked them off. Gone. Alta Vista. Do you remember that one? You probably don't remember that one.
I don't even know who they are.
Alta Vista was a search engine that I actually used to use.
Wow.
That was an OG Google type
That's why
thing.
you have gray hair on your head.
Gone. Yeah. AOL. You know when you see an AOL email address, I'm sorry if you have one, if you're listening, it's like, oof, they're a little... Dig, I don't even know what that is, but that was one. Yellow Pages. These are all platforms that were the king, category king platform. Gone. So the reason I bring this up is right now, if we over-index on one strategy when it's so early, we might put all of our eggs into a basket that will be gone in a few. Just last month we were ChatGPT junkies. I haven't logged into ChatGPT in a month.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's all Claude. So category kings, no one has emerged yet as a category king. And so over-optimizing, over-indexing on one of these things, I think, is a risk unless you have a lot of excess cash. And I don't know tons of businesses that have tons of excess cash to just blow like that unless they're private equity. The next thing I want to tell you is once a category king emerges, let's just say, for example, it's ChatGPT. It's new and it's going to find ways to improve. It's also going to find ways that people are gaming the system and it's going to improve. So here's how it went with Google. Panda update was 2011. This wiped out duplicate content and thin websites. Wiped them out. So people who had thriving businesses, Panda came out and they were out of business. In 2012, it started to do its Penguin update. wiped out a whole nother set of businesses. We used to call this the Google slap from the Russell Brunson days, right? The Google slap from the Russell Brunson days, right? The Google slap or the Thanos snap or whatever. Then in Hummingbird came out in 2013. This was 1 year later. Then Mobile Friendly came out in 2015. Then Rank Brain came out in 2015. Then Bert came out in 2019. Then Helpful Content 2023-24. In each one of those updates, we saw businesses get wiped out because they went all in on Google, rightfully so, but they went all in on methods that were not either kosher, or they were doing black hat things, or they were just over indexing on a single source.
Yep.
And Google wiped them out. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to
We
happen.
saw the same thing, by the way, happen with Facebook.
Oh yeah, for us, I mean,
Facebook ads.
Facebook ads 5 years ago, easy. Today, wild, wild west. So anyway, the whole point of us saying all this stuff is not to fearmonger and things like that. It's to say that, is it important? Absolutely. Should they be focusing on it? Absolutely. Should they abandon every other source and just go all in on something that really there's no experts in yet? Probably not.
Yeah, and most people want to jump on it for like the first mover, or early adopter advantage, whatever pitch
Blue
they're telling
ocean,
themselves.
blah, blah, blah.
But here's what I'll tell you. If you're doing, it's so hard to put a revenue target on it. But if you're doing under 5 million, yes, it's important, but there are so many ways you can grow your firm that are easier and they have so much history on them. They're tried and true. And at that stage, when you're below 5 million, gambling is just not an option. Certainty, there's serious value in certainty. So I don't think, if I am sub 5 million, yes, I'd be learning about it. Yes, I'd be making sure my team is using it. Operationally, I'd definitely be using it, but it would not distract me from simply scaling my LSA, scaling my PPC, scaling my Facebook, working on normal SEO.
And, to that point, when these things monetize, because they will.
Oh yeah.
And, as a side note, I actually have some stats on this too. Google monetized 2 years after it was published, Facebook 2.5 years, YouTube 2 years, Instagram 3 years, Snapchat 3 years, TikTok 1 year. So they all monetize with ads roughly 2 years after launch. So either way, even if you're not the number one, and realistically, the biggest firms are going to be number one, unfortunately. Sorry. If you're not number one, you can always pay to play.
Yep.
And earn your way up, just like everybody else does, right? So I want to kind of dispel some of the fear, like, oh my gosh, this is a new thing. You'll rank, you can pay to play, you'll get leads from ChatGPT. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. One of the easiest things to do for a law firm is generate leads.
Yes.
It's an easy thing. It's not difficult. And there's not going to be a world where people aren't searching.
Yeah.
It's just where they're searching. So I think the main reason that people focus or are really worried, and again, I'm saying this myself included. The main reason I'm so worried about this wave of AI changes, LLMs, Claudebot, OpenAI, and all these changes that are happening is it just really is two things. I either want to make money off of a blue ocean strategy, like I want to make sure I take advantage of making money with this wave, or I want to protect the money I'm making to make sure it keeps happening. Like those are the two main concerns. And if we think about those two main concerns for family law firms, there are dozens of really good sources for getting leads in business that aren't going anywhere with this AI change. And so if that is the big fear that you're feeling right now, let's just pretend like we fast forward 3 months from now. ChatGPT became so prominent that it wiped out Google.
Do I have 3 months to prepare, or it's gone today?
You have 3 months to prepare. You're gonna talk about what you're gonna do over the next 3 months.
So I'm prepared.
So ChatGPT just knocked off Google. It's now the top producer for website traffic, for legal searches. Google is not getting as much traffic.
Is it running ads, ChatGPT?
No, pretend it's not.
Okay. Oof, that's tough.
What are you gonna do?
Okay, so you're telling me that Google is gone. Is Google Maps still there?
It's there, but there's barely any traffic. Everyone's going to ChatGPT instead.
And I have 3 months to prepare.
3 months to prepare.
Okay. So first thing I'm doing is I am making sure that I can convert social media traffic.
What do you mean by that?
So I'm running Facebook ads, Instagram ads. Is YouTube still alive?
Yeah.
We lost them, but we didn't lose them?
No, they're still
okay.
alive.
So
ChatGPT doesn't have a video product yet, so they're still alive.
Okay, I'd be running YouTube ads, Meta ads, those two specifically, and I would be making sure that I'm tracking that to a cost of acquisition. So how many leads can I get from social media? It's a lot. what do those leads cost and what do they convert at?
Would a social media lead convert differently than a referral lead or a Google lead?
It'll convert differently than a referral lead, absolutely. But I've seen some clients convert social media leads just as high as Google Ads leads. So I would be looking for around a 10% conversion rate on social media if my messaging is dialed in. And I would be making sure that I have an outreach process that's a lot more robust than my current one, because social media, you don't get as many phone calls. So I'd be making sure I have texting. I'd be making sure that I have somebody that's dedicated to calling leads. And I'd be making sure that I'm measuring the KPIs to make sure that that source is as good as I know it is, but I'm just pretending like I don't know if I'm in one of these people's shoes. And I'm scaling social media as fast as humanly possible to make up for the cases that I'm about to lose. So if you're like any one of our clients, Google probably makes up like 80% of your business. So if I'm getting, let's call it 20 cases, I'm making sure that I'm closing 16 cases a month off of social before Google's apocalypse happens.
You're sending me on this venture to go make social media profitable. Is this a fool's errand, or do you actually have clients that are making money off social media?
So we have clients right now that they're any size firm, honestly. We have some clients that are smaller, that they're getting their best case values and lowest cost of acquisitions from social. We have some firms that are very large that are doing several $1 million a year in social media revenue.
Actually, a fun fact I thought about today, the two biggest family law firms that are Empirical's clients, their top performing source from an ROI, cost of acquisition, all the stats, case value, like Elliot mentioned, is overwhelmingly Meta ads right now.
Yeah, crushing it. So let's double click into what I'd be doing on social, because I have to fuel my ecosystem off of this source until I crack the code on ChatGPT if they don't start running ads. I would be doing bottom of funnel. So are you considering divorce? Book a consultation now. Those ads. I would be doing...
And are those videos or those graphics?
It would be both. I'd be running graphics and I'd be running videos. I would be running webinars. So this is more top of funnel. So these are people who are considering divorce maybe in a few months, right? I'd run a few different types of webinars. The first one I would run is, are you preparing for a divorce? These are the 3 things you need to know. Something like that. I would also run another one that's, have you been served papers? Here's what you need to know right now. Get a little bit of urgency in there and these people are going to close faster. So I'd have a webinar strategy. I'd have a bottom of funnel strategy for sure. That would be getting me leads, and I'd be running bottom of funnel on YouTube. So have you been served with papers? Call now. Are you a man who's concerned about custody? Call now, right? That would make up the case volume pretty quickly if I was getting 20 cases a month. The next thing I would do if AI is really taking over that fast is probably try and create some sort of in-person dynamic. I'd be trying to drum
sales in person.
Well, I'd definitely bring people in the office if I was a firm to do sales. That's a whole nother conversation. But what I would do is I would try and do like seminars, or I would try and do community events to get my name out there and grassroots stuff. So definitely seminars. I would try and crack the code on that. And when I say crack the code, we have clients doing it. That's working. It actually works apparently better with women than it does with men. We haven't cracked the code on men yet. Side note. But I'd be doing seminars, and then I'd be sponsoring local things, getting my name out there with like-minded referral partners, because I'd be trying to boost my referrals as much as I could.
So let me give you another scenario. ChatGPT completely knocks off, or actually no, ChatGPT changes the way people are searching for stuff. So they're going to ChatGPT, and Google's experience is all in AI mode. So if you go to Google right now, you can click on AI mode. That's the new search engine. But they still have LSA and they still have Google Ads. What would you do if you know that change is coming in 90 days?
I honestly wouldn't change anything I'm doing right now.
Would you just, let me answer for you. I would still do the social media stuff you're saying, because I think that's important.
Yeah.
And I would just make sure, just like with social media, that my marketing intake and sales processes are working for paid sources. So I'd make sure LSA is working for me.
Yeah.
I'd make sure PPC is working for me. It's profitable, because if I lose all my SEO leads and I can make those up on paid channels, that's still an even exchange as long as I'm profitable.
Yeah.
Not an even exchange, it's still a fine exchange.
I would start backing off on SEO and start putting it more into social.
Yep.
Is what I meant. I figured you were doing social already in that scenario. But again, I think what's important here in surviving this AI thing is if we go back to some of the just, if we look at history, we don't know who the category king is yet. Is it ChatGPT? Is it Claude? Is it Perplexity? Is it?
No, not a lot of people are saying it could be Google.
Yeah, actually, I think Google is still leading the pack.
Oh yeah.
Or actually, they're right behind ChatGPT as of like 2 days ago, for these types of searches. So we don't know who the winner is going to be yet. And then once we establish a winner, we don't know how many times they're going to update their algorithm.
Yep.
So to me, diversification, like any good investor at this point, is an aim. When there's a lot of risk in the air, like in the stock market, people start flocking to gold and bonds and safe things, right? When there's a lot of risk in the air, which there is right now because nobody knows what's going to happen, start putting your money in tried and true sources: social, LSA, Google Ads. I like to think of it as, am I aligning my interests with the platforms? And Google makes all of its money on ads. So if I keep putting money in ads, I'm probably pretty safe because I don't think Google's going to torpedo their entire business.
Same thing with Facebook. Facebook makes all of its money off of
literally
ads.
all of it. So that's not going away. Google's ads aren't going away. Let's put our money there for the time being.
So if you are worried about AI and you're actually curious to learn how you can use AI to grow your law firm, book a demo with us. We'll show you our AI platform and how you can use it. And we'll show you how you can actually generate revenue from AI. Not in months, not in years, this week.